Hello my fellow cracking canine cavities, I'm Mr. Church. Today I'm going to be building a camp build right here in Skyline Valley near the Stony Man Lookout. And there's this cool little area here that's like on the corner of this intersection. And I'm going to be building in the CORVEGA prefab from the Atom Shop. Let's get the awkwardness out of the way first of all. I don't know what those letters are in the middle of the screen, okay? If you can tell me what that says, I'd appreciate it. It's just one of my footage was corrupted with it. I've never had that happen before. I think aliens corrupted my footage. Anyway, when you're placing your camp module down here, just make sure that none of the radius is touching the road or it won't let you place it down because caravans allegedly pass through this area and you can't have a camp blocking off a cow that already can't path find in a straight line, so that's going to be uncomfortable. Anyway, so I thought it'd be cool. First things first, look how these doors open. That's hilarious. That's laughable. That's shameful, actually. Now, in a week, you can just put the door down however you want it, because there's going to be relaxed building restrictions. But right now, I don't want to mess around with flipping it around, so what I'm going to do is lock it so it can't be opened, and the explanation is that it's boarded off. I can open it, of course, but other people that are dumb can't open it. So that's how I'm going to solve that issue as quickly as possible. Now, I want to make a parking lot because this is going to be a fortified CORVEGA shop or something. So we have to start off by placing this foundation overlapping those stairs. You can place it over top of it, but you can't snap over top of the stairs. So you have to start with this foundation piece and work your way outward from there. And it's going to be so fun. Now, the reason why I haven't built anything on the channel in 6 months is because I knew that they were coming out with this big update where they're going to relax building restrictions, and it will actually be maybe enjoyable to build in the game, and they're also fixing the UI so we could find stuff that we own to build with. And so I was going to take a break, you know, and I have been, and it's been really nice. Enjoyed some summer, living outside. There was life, there was grass, there was things that happened. That was joyful. But then I thought to myself, look at this prefab, it's kind of neat actually, and I got inspired, and I thought, you know what, my therapist isn't looking, I can build one last time in here using the old restrictions. So that's what I'm doing right now. I still don't know what those words say in the middle of the screen, but they're not on the whole footage, probably, hopefully, maybe, let's find out, well, I guess. Anyway, so the idea, of course, like I said, is a fortified CORVEGA, so someone came here and used what was here to fortify the place. So it's going to look kind of like a fort or a castle of some kind, but it's going to be crafted with automotive pieces. So the first thing I'm going to do is use this gate that I've never used in my life because it doesn't make any sense, but in this specific scenario it kind of does make sense, assuming you have the gate there already and then you attach the car to it just as some extra scrap metal to cover the gate up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it so it's kind of like touching the edge of the foundation, and it doesn't like to sink down in very easily, and it's kind of poop. So I'm going to make sure that's lined up first of all, and then I'm going to use something called a foundation merge to sink that lower into the ground so that it can be not 12 feet in the air. That'll be helpful. Now, to do the foundation merge, I don't know how to do it, so I'm going to try anyway. I guess you like walk over to it, you pray to God, and then you look down like this, and if it stays green, you're good. All you have to do now is lift and lower, and it'll drop or raise the item. As you can see, well, by dropping this down, it sinks it down into that item below. If you want to learn more about merging and stuff, I'm going to link Nuka Violet's merge guide video, which is very helpful, and she goes over this in that video as well. And we can just snap this back into place. Unfortunately, it is too low, so we're going to have to take the camp module and put it in the edge, and this allows you to place foundations lower than you would otherwise know how to, and I got this from Alex P. And I don't know how people come up with or find these things. Usually I find these things because the Lord speaks to me in dreams, and he says, hey, you know, that if you unzip your flap... No, that was somebody else. Wait, hold on. Anyway, so let's put something like what we could call battlements around the edge. This is, of course, scaffolding. and it's pretty interesting. So obviously, you can't like build in the game because, you know, it's red constantly. So that's going to be nice when we can suddenly use the pieces that we spent money on in the coming week, in 1 week from when I'm doing this right now. Now, I'm going to use Wrecking Ball. Having it equipped, I can break my own stuff, which will allow me to break these items, and now I can build through that, which is really helpful. And we're going to be using that a lot as we build, because stuff will need to be broken so that things can intersect. And actually, now that I'm doing this right now, I don't know if I've done a build video on the channel since they did the change to Wrecking Ball, and now we can just shoot stuff. I genuinely can't remember. Anyway, I drop merged the skeleton down so he's sitting in this car, and then I place the car inside this. You don't have to do anything special to place it inside that. It'll actually go down, surprisingly, without any weird stuff happening. So this is going to be part of the wall, and then of course to get this close to the wall, I'll have to break more stuff. And that's fine because I like shooting and breaking things. Like that. So yeah, this will help you push stuff together that wouldn't otherwise be going together. And obviously, this tutorial has less than a week shelf life, because once the update goes live and we can actually like build in the game, it's going to be crazy. And also, this, like a lot of the stuff that I'm doing in this tutorial, you won't have to do to get the stuff to do the stuff you want to do. So that's pretty cool. And I've got a lot of build ideas that I'm excited about, and I'm going to probably just like build them in my head and then forget to build them in real life and then make videos on it. But if I remember, those will be cool videos to watch in the months and years to come, won't it? So I want to sink this down into the ground so it won't be like weird and instead just be like a car. First things first, I'm going to do the foundation merge that I did with the front fence. And sometimes it can take like 25 years to find the correct angle that you need to stand at to get it. But when you click on it and it stays red, you know you don't have it. So keep moving and clicking and trying to find it. And eventually it will be glorious. Now this will actually be something that might be harder to do after the update because it's always going to be red. I'm not sure. I'll have to see. It might, I don't know, because stuff was going to behave differently. And so it'll be fun figuring new things out and figuring out like what the new stuff is we can do, because there's going to be a lot of cool stuff that we can do. Trust me. Okay, and if you don't trust me, that's totally fine. Like, why would you in one hand? But like on the other hand, just leave me alone. I'm trustworthy as hell. Now I went into free cam mode eventually and was able to find an angle that worked perfectly. And so that was just, I realized how much time had been wasted at that moment. But that's fine. Anyway, you're just going to use the same method that we used before, which is so silly. And it allows us to sink this down into the foundation. Now, once we have it sunk down, because it's sticking out from the edges of the foundation, that means it's going to be intersecting with the other foundations around it if I put it back in the parking lot. And that means I can't just place it back in there because it's going to be intersecting. So it has to be broken, and it has to be placed first with the other foundations snapping to it. I can't snap this into those, I have to snap those to this because this has the broken item on it. Well, once I break it, of course. So that means we have to get this into place without the foundation pieces that are around it. So we have to build some kind of area we can snap foundations over to so that we have something to snap this piece to. And you don't know what I mean because I'm just saying words, but I'll show you, see how it doesn't go in. And if I break it, it'll still be red when I do that. But what I'm going to do is I removed the entire side of this, see, and now it's broken, but it still isn't going to snap in. It's red because when you pick it up, it doesn't remember that it's broken. Okay, it has to be there first and snap the foundations to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over, and I'm going to have to use this trick again. To shove pieces into the ground where they're too low. And you can do the exact same thing with these ramp pieces as well, shoving it into the ground. How glorious is that? And so then you can get rid of this one, except you can't because those things don't have support. So you just have to build a foundation over here first. This is the new support for the thing that's too low into the ground. Now you can get rid of that and this. I'm just going to move it out of the way. And now we're going to be snapping this to the thing that's basically all the way under the ground. And we can grab it and get rid of it now. But yeah, this is how I'm getting this into place. And what a heap of baloney, you know. And some of this stuff actually will probably still be useful after the update, because some stuff is still going to not want you to do it. Like, you still will have to probably use this method to get stuff low into the ground. But, you know, it's really hard to tell for sure what all is going to be changed, especially when the PTS changes every 4 days. But we'll see. It'll be glorious, I'm sure. Now I'm going to change these back to this because I thought it looked more parking lot-like, even though the other one kind of matches the concrete, the sidewalk thing area. This is better. And then we repair this, and as you can see, it's just like a car sitting in the area. Now I've turned the lights on so I can see a damn thing, and I want to put this here, and I can't. Just ignore the crash Vertibot. It's an idiot. It drove onto my head, so I blew it up. And blow this up, and now that it's broken, you can snap this through it. And now blow that up, and now you can snap stuff through that. So basically, I'm making a wall of refuse, as if this person lived here and they thought to themselves, you know what? You know what? A cabinet. That'll keep the bad guys out. So then they put the cabinet into place. And just breaking this stuff will allow you to shove this stuff in there without it popping up or saying you can't place it. And again, for the 80th time, this is all stuff that you won't have to do once the update goes live in the Tuesday after today. So if you're watching this in the future, you're going to be astonished to see the horror that we've had to go through for the first 6 years of this game's life just to build a few things. But I'm really excited, and it's a great change, and I don't know why it took them 6 years to realize this is something that we all wanted, but at least they realized eventually, you know, and there's something there. There's something there. How about that? How about that's glorious? How about that's so beautiful? Now, for those who are wondering, yes, I do love building this game. It's so fun. One of my favorite things about it is not being able to find anything in the build menu, or taking 17 weeks. Now, this is hopefully going to be better with the new UI that's coming in the new update as well, and I'm really excited about that. For this build, however, what I did was I actually went through the entire build menu, and I placed down one of every item that I thought I might want to use at some point for some place in this entire build. And then I took and I stored all those items. So that way when I built, I could kind of look through my stored list, and even if I needed more of those items or I didn't end up using those items, it was easy for me to remember, oh yeah, I was going to maybe see if that item was going to work for this and whatnot instead. By the way, the drop merge I just did is the same as what I'm about to here, and I take the pressure plate and I put it down, and the button will stick down, and then you can just pick up and place it down. It'll push the bottom item up into the other one. I use that other thing with the toolbox to shove that that tow truck into the ground, otherwise it floats, and I'm using this to lower this turret down. I'm gonna actually shoot the turret so that it's just stationary and not looking back and forth, but this is just so I could put a gun on the back. I also placed this big cow catcher thing in the front while it was broken, and then I'm gonna stack a few tires around to make it look like, you know, we haven't put the tires on it yet, but they're sitting around. I'll put one on this side as well. Anyway, putting those things in the stored tab also allowed me to just kind of like quickly access those items, but that's why there's a massive stored area when you look up at my budget. But it did seem to help actually quite a bit. But I spent like an hour doing that, so it was like one building session. I just did that, and then I came back because it was kind of burning me out quite a bit, honestly, just to find my stuff. So hopefully that'll be a lot better. I like how the UI looks in the PTS. It should be exciting. I kept this part of the footage in so you guys could see why it takes me so long to make these builds, and it's because I thought, you know what, I have to move this 17,000 times after I place it down, because it's just not quite right. So that's something that happens constantly. I cut most of that out, obviously, because this is only like a 12-hour video instead of a 14-day video, but that's something that happens quite a bit. Now I'm going to be using this as part of the wall, And I keep making like big jumps because you don't really want to see me putting down pieces of fencing every 12 hours. But I'm going to make this into scraps of metal that's sitting in the parking lot. So the quick way to do that is I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to do the same exact drop merge we just did with the pressure plate. This is also covered in Nuka Violet's merge video, which I'm going to be linking. So if you're not sure how to do that, she'll go over it in greater detail and with actual English explaining what it means and what it does. But I'm going to put this here, and then I'm going to do the other merge, the foundation merge, to sink these barrels down in. So it's just going to be the pieces of corrugated metal sitting on the ground, and it's going to add a lot of detail to the parking lot. Just a bunch of scrappy poop, and it should be fine. So that's what I did, and then you can just take this and put it back in. And it's perfectly fun to do. I also placed little piles of rubble. Now, to place a door up against the fence, I had to use this door blueprint, which I came up with. And I'm going to link the video because I was pretty proud of the discovery that I made. But again, another thing that when the update comes, we won't need to do all these convoluted things to place a door down like this, as if there's doors leaning against the fence. We can just place the door down, and it's going to be so great. Building and existing structures is about to be so good. Like, there's so many times when I just wanted to put a door in a doorway, and we couldn't, because even that blueprint wouldn't let me fit it in. It wouldn't get it close enough. I'm going to use the same thing to put a door on this outhouse here. So first I'm going to blow up the outhouse. This will allow me to get a foundation in at the right height, which I can snap through the broken outhouse, and then I'll be able to place the foundation, or the blueprint of the doors on top of this foundation, and it'll be at the right level. And even when it's red, sometimes blueprints will still go down, so always give it a shot. Again, I'm going to link the video to make this blueprint, but I don't really recommend or advise doing it, especially just wait a week and then you won't need to. But it was a great tool in the meantime, and it's something I was pretty proud of figuring out. So there's something to drink some booze about, or what? Anyway, once you place that in, you can just get rid of the carpet and the other door. I can change the door to whatever I want, get rid of these foundations, and repair the outhouse. And then everyone's going to be so happy to see that there's a door on the outhouse. Actually, no one will care, and I just wasted 25 minutes of my life that I'm not getting back. Now I'm going to use this other blueprint, which I figured out, on a rug. And this is how I'm going to stick a wall into this spot. Which, again, you won't need to do. You can just place a wall in. But it just so happens to be almost the exact height. But let's take a look at the finished product. There's a lot of stuff I didn't show building because I'm just throwing little pieces of junk and then piling it up, and so who wants to look at that? There wasn't too much structurally here except for the fence because I'm using a prefab. Now, one time someone said that I hate prefabs, and that's just incorrect. Working with a prefab saves you a lot of budget. So this is actually a massive build, and I'm able to put a lot of detail in it because I'm using a prefab. Now, here's the thing about prefabs. A lot of them are ass, okay? That's why I don't like them. A lot of them are crap. But the ones that are good, I do like. This one is good. I think it's really immersive. It's scrappy. You can do a lot of cool stuff with it. I think it's a good design. Now, there is some bugginess with the upstairs roof, I noticed. You can't put lights on the ceiling. They go up into the ceiling, and then that's gone. A good thing we have free cam mode, am I right? Anyway, I had a lot of fun building this, which is weird because I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't have fun building in this game for many moons, because every time I would just get enraged digging through the laggy build menu or trying to place 2 items down and then disconnecting. But I had fun. I think I needed a break or something. Who knows? Maybe getting burned out after 9,000 hours can happen. I'm not sure. But it was a good break, and I'm happy to be back, allegedly. And I had fun building. Honestly, genuinely. And honestly, I think building in the Skyline Valley has been fun as well, just because it's like, it also still feels kind of fresh and new to me, because there's a lot of places that I just haven't spent that much time in. Also, the brambles is one of the best camp items ever. You're able to really blend stuff in and make stuff look overgrown, no matter what. And they're pretty forgiving to build with, unlike these green bushes here that were added a little bit later. But I tried to make a perimeter around the whole structure. Some places, obviously, in the fence are going to be a little weaker than others, but I want it to look like the guy just built the fence with whatever was here, so it's not going to be great. But when you come up to this, it does open up. Beware the Eater. I don't know if that's a reference, of course, to the poem God the Eater, which is a great poem. Great literature, by the way. Anyway, here's Corvega in all its glory. And I just wanted to... I don't know. When you have a story in mind for who's living at the thing you're building, it's going to end up looking 10 times better because you have a reason for everything you put in its place. For example, there's these toolboxes, someone's working on that. As you can see, I shot the turret so it stopped moving, so it would look like that. This was a bad day for that guy, I'm not gonna lie, but he's doing fine. And I was able to pile up a bunch of stuff. I put these airplane seats as if they were the seats from the car. Heap of garbage, as they say. I changed the door out for the outhouse up that way. But I piled up shit along the fence, which is really nice. I think it adds a lot of good detail. There's a little, what do you call that, forklift sitting here, just to kind of take up some of that space in the open parking lot area. And back here, there are all the bushes. Now, here's something that I wanted to show. I like to pile up the essentials for my camp on top of a spike board trap like this. And I have the weather machine with a switch so I can turn it on and off. I have the cooler, I have my scrap box, I have my ammo box, and I have a generator, which, because it's one of the nice utility box ones, it provides ambient power to anything around. And then you can just flip this switch, and it disappears, but it's still working. You can see, because I'm still clear weather, it's still working perfectly. So no rats will come along and eat your expensive items. You could put those on a flip trap board thing and break it, and then it'll be in the ether, but it'll still exist somehow. But that's what I like to do with that stuff. And here's a pile of garbage burning. Here's like the inside of that junk wall, and I have one of the Tinker's benches here. I try to put all the benches that I would end up using in here somewhere so that it's still a useful camp that can be used and not just something to look at. But I really like how this turned out, by the way. This bush on this hay bale, I'm going to link the video where I show how to do stuff like that. But again, in a week's time, that's not going to be necessary. But it is really nice in the meantime. It was a nice thing in the meantime. It allowed us to build stuff that can only be placed in dirt. But actually, now that I actually say that, that will still be useful in the update, because the stuff that has to be placed in dirt still has to be placed in dirt. So, I'm definitely going to link that video. Check it out in the description. These lights I wired up to a switch so that when you flip the switch, it lights up all around at night, but you can have the lights off if you want. It's a really nice effect, really nice touch. I'll never get to see it because I'm inside flipping the switch, but I'm sure someone will like it and they'll cream their pants when they see it. And I just pile up different things around here just to kind of wedge all the places where the holes must be filled. This is a power armor station. Like I said, I have power armor. I have all the workbenches that I would need here and there. I like how the outside of this fence, or this wall of junk, ended up looking. It kind of reminds me of Bunker Hill in Fallout 4, I guess, when I look at it sometimes, and I'm closing my eyes hard enough. And then this is of course, the boarded up door, because the glass door, one of them broke. Inside, I really wasn't that sure what to do with it, and I also wanted to go a little light on the decor because I was running low on budget, and I wanted to have enough for the upstairs, which we'll see in a second. But I do have this car, which is the workbench. I've got a little waiting area, water cooler, random little table for eating on stuff and medications, thing to clean the floor, nets for some reason. I don't know, the pile of net just kind of adds junk to this. There's a ghoul taped to one of the special chairs, and that's just kind of awkward. So let's go in here. And speaking of awkward, this room, there's some weird stuff happening over here, I'm not going to lie. This was probably the break room, and it's been turned into something that looks like the guy who lives here is kind of like doing tests or something to try to figure out. As you remember, we are right next to Stony Man Lookout. This is a bunch of super mutants that live here, so I think it's probable that this person maybe captured one that had attacked him and he killed, and he's doing tests to see if it's edible or to see if it's human, or I don't know what he's doing, okay? I don't really want to know, actually. But he's cutting it up, and he's got heads in the jars, and I don't know. Listen, it's not me that lives here. It's someone else did this, and I'm just passing through. And I like how I use this old car to kind of block off this garage door here for security purposes. And then in the back here, there's a bunch of like beds to live in and sleep in case you have like guests living here and it's not just the one guy. Here's some tools and stuff, some components that could potentially be car parts if you close your eyes hard enough. Again, squint into the light, and that's fine. And then again, another workbench because I like to have all the benches that I need. And then I boarded up that door in the back because the back is just going to be completely closed off. And up here we have the living quarters, and this is basically the person who lives here. He has like a nice little area. Now this is actually really cool. This is the long aquarium sign, faded, and it actually doesn't look like a sign at all, and it's perfect for like boarding up walls, and I used a couple of them here. I really like it. It's a really cool item, and a lot of the best items are actually the items that are just like they're like so bland and plain, but that allows us to do with them whatever we want. Adding some stuff that has motion, like a fan, adds a lot of light to the build, or life, I should say, because movement gives life, so it's always nice to have stuff that has movement. Now, here's something weird I noticed. Now, if you hold this up to a glass, to like windows and stuff, the texture completely disappears and you can only see the labels on it. Now, I knew it was kind of crap texture when I first looked at this thing when it was first in the Atom Shop, but it's worse than I thought, honestly. So if you're building with this, I recommend not putting it in front of a window because it looks like fucking terrible. It looks horrible. I hate it. Now I boarded off half of this area because it's got that nice wraparound window, and the options were either seal up the window fully or just seal off that part of the room. That way we can still enjoy panoramic dinner here when things feel calmer outside, but we can go back inside where it's safer and we're not going to get shot if things feel a little more sketchy out in the neighborhood. So I really like that area, a little sitting area, but it's kind of divided from the rest of the living space for safety purposes. And this is where we can maybe do some experiments on those super mutant heads. A place where we can write and take drugs and I don't know. A little area to sleep in, obviously. And just piles of stuff that a human being would live in. This is the roof. In there is the roof that I was talking about that glitches and stuff sticks up in. Now I put this little food here so that when the doors open, it kind of looks like it's propping it open. Obviously, it just shuts through the fruit, so that doesn't make any sense. But if it stays open, it looks cool. I put these little fences up. This would kind of deflect the heat towards you if you were actually using this as a fireplace to warm you. But it's also nice to have the scrappy little pieces of fence from outside. Just some more detail and scrappiness. And here we have the pemmican being cooked on the roof. What could be more safe than that? And then I really like this little, this is actually from the Tiki set, but it looks kind of like handmade with like mattresses and stuff. So I like that. And then here's the pile of fruit, which I think is like some of the best items they've added to the Atom Shop in a long time. Over here is actually just like a bunch of different like brewing station type of vibes. And it doesn't really have anything to do with the story I had in my head of the person who lives here, but they're big items that have a lot of detail to them. And again, there's like smokes, which adds kind of movement. So it's basically a way to conserve budget, but still kind of make it a little busier over there because it was very plain and empty. So I use those things because it's like 3 items, but it takes up a lot of space and they each have a lot of detail to them. And as you can see, there's not really a way up right now, not a realistic way to get up any higher. But you can jump, you can use your legs, you can use your jetpack. So after they give us reduced restrictions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here, I'm going to go to the defenses, and I'm going to find the porch railing, which looks like this. This looks like a ladder, and I'm just going to have it like laying down somewhere over here, because I'll be able to just place it wherever I want. And this will be like the ladder to get up there. For now, the ways to put this up here would require such headache that it wouldn't be worth it whatsoever. And that's coming from me, so you know that that's pretty bad. So now if I go up, we have, of course, this. I've always liked this windmill. It just adds so much, like, Scrappy Raider vibes. You know what I mean? It adds a lot. and I really like it. I wish we had those metal prefabs from Fallout 4, you know, those rounded bunker looking things. But anyway, I wanted this to look like he had kind of crafted his own power station, and maybe he's still working on it. Maybe it doesn't work fully, so he's got a place up here to work on it and sleep when it gets too late. We can use this to look at the red butthole in the sky. That's nice. This is just adding detail. I don't think it works, does it? I don't know. Anyway, I really like how this thing turned out. And I had a lot of fun building it, weirdly, which was, I think, concerning in its own way. But I'm really excited about the changes that are coming to building, and I just wanted to, one last time, rip my fingernails off one by one. And if I couldn't do that, build in this game, while we had these crippling restrictions that don't have any reason or rhyme to them, but we've just suffered through them anyway for 6 years. But all the items that we've purchased in the item shop, we're going to get so much more use out of them now that we can, I don't know, place them down. So that's really exciting in my opinion, and I'm really proud of how this build turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I know it's been a long time since I've made any camp builds, but that's why, and so that also means there's going to be some more coming soon, just once I find my glasses. I'm actually looking for light right here in this footage so that I can say, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my patrons and channel members for your support. If it wasn't for your support, I really wouldn't be able to be making the videos I do and to do the things that I do, and I love doing the things I do. So if you're interested in supporting the channel in that way, the link for that will be in the description. But honestly, just liking, subscribing, commenting, all that stuff really helps the channel, and I really appreciate it. There's a Discord. If you're not in the Discord, make sure you join the Discord. It's a great community, and I also post in there whenever I go live. And also I stream on Twitch, and the link for that will also be in the description. I hope you guys have a great time building, and I'll see you guys in the next video.